The birthmark. The first time Trevor noticed it, the baby was 6 days old. Swaddled in a pale green muslin blanket, barely stirring in his crib under the soft hum of the white noise machine, little Isaiah turned his head, and there it was. A tiny dark mark, just behind his right ear. Oval-shaped, almost like a fingerprint pressed into the skin. Trevor blinked, leaned in. The air in the nursery suddenly felt thinner. He'd seen that mark before. Matt had it, his little brother. Same size, same spot, same shape. Born with it, their mother used to say. A kiss from the angels, she'd coo. Trevor always thought it was ugly. Matt hated it. Kids made fun of it in school. He even tried to burn it off once with a lighter when he was 14, high out of his mind. Now Isaiah had it. Trevor didn't say anything at first. He just stood there in the doorway, watching his newborn son breathe. Watching that mark rise and fall with every inhale. The next day, he asked Samantha casually, "You ever notice that thing behind his ear?" She shrugged. "What thing?" "That little mark. Birthmark, I guess." "Oh." She leaned in, squinting. "Huh. Weird. I hadn't really looked." She said it too quickly. Too light. Like she didn't want to look. They were back home in Atlanta, 2 weeks out of the hospital, trying to hold it together with newborn schedules, bottle rotations, and Matt now sleeping in their finished basement. He'd moved in 3 weeks before the birth. Said he was clean. Said he needed a fresh start. Trevor had believed him. Samantha had been hesitant, but they agreed. Family was family. But now, Trevor watched her watching the baby. And something in her eyes, it wasn't love. It was calculation. A flicker of panic before she smiled. That night, Trevor couldn't sleep. He pulled up an old photo on his phone. Him and Matt at a family cookout in '98. Trevor maybe 10, Matt around 6. Matt's head was turned, and there it was. That same birthmark. Right there. The next morning, Trevor asked his mom casually, "You remember Matt's birthmark?" She laughed. "Oh Lord, yes. You used to tell him it meant he was adopted." Trevor's stomach turned. Downstairs, Matt was making eggs in the kitchen. He looked healthy. Clean. "You want some, Trev?" Trevor stared at him. At the back of his head. At that birthmark. His heart pounding. He mumbled something about coffee, and went back upstairs. He didn't touch the baby for the rest of the day. Matt had always been the charming one. The funny one. The fuck-up. Growing up in southwest Atlanta, Trevor was the responsible older brother. Quiet. Focused. He got good grades, made it out, got a degree in civil engineering. Built a life. Matt got into weed, then pills, then meth. He'd been in and out of treatment more times than Trevor could count. And every time he got clean, he swore it was for good. "This time for real, man," he'd say. "I just want to be a part of something. Real." So when Matt showed up 3 weeks before Samantha gave birth, duffel bag in hand and eyes bloodshot from detox, Trevor didn't hesitate. He offered him the finished basement, separate entrance, small kitchenette, clean sheets. No rent, just help around the house and a promise to stay sober. Samantha had resisted. "What if he relapses?" she asked, hand on her belly. "What if he steals from us?" Trevor had convinced her. "He needs this. He needs us." And at first, it seemed to work. Matt attended AA meetings, cooked dinner, fixed the garage light. He even assembled the crib. When Isaiah was born, Matt held him at the hospital, teary-eyed, whispering, "Damn, he's perfect." But now that birthmark. Trevor began watching him closer. His movements, his glances. He remembered little things. How Matt had insisted on staying back during the hospital delivery weekend to clean up. How he'd seemed weirdly emotional when he held the baby. How Isaiah never cried when Matt rocked him. That week, Trevor checked the baby monitor, one night around 2 a.m. The screen glitched once, then lit up. Matt. Upstairs. In the nursery. He wasn't touching the baby. Just standing there in the dark, looking down at the crib. Silent. Still. Too still. Trevor froze. Watched for over a minute. Then Matt turned his head slightly, toward the monitor camera, and walked out. The next morning, Trevor pretended everything was fine. They had coffee. Samantha fed Isaiah, bleary-eyed. Matt went for a jog. Trevor went down to the basement and searched. He didn't know what he was looking for. Drugs, maybe. Some evidence of a relapse. But what he found wasn't that. In Matt's laundry bin, a wadded-up button-down shirt that didn't smell like him. It smelled like perfume, floral, expensive, the kind Samantha used to wear before the baby came. Inside the pocket, a strip of photo booth pictures curled and faded. 2 people, faces blurred by movement. But the last frame, Trevor's gut twisted. It was Matt. And Samantha. Laughing. His arm around her shoulder. Her lips near his ear. Trevor stood in the quiet of the basement, cold and suddenly aware of his heartbeat. He wasn't imagining things. Something had happened. Something no one was telling him. Something in her eyes. Trevor couldn't unsee the photo strip. He'd tucked it into his back pocket like contraband, folding it tight until the paper creased. All day he moved through the house like a ghost, unsure whether he was angrier at Samantha, or Matt, or himself. Every smile she offered felt like a lie. Every sound from the baby monitor became a drumbeat of doubt. That night, after Isaiah was down, he asked her point blank, "You and Matt ever hang out alone?" She looked up from the couch, confused. "What?" "I found a photo. Looked like one of those wedding booths. You and him. Clothes." Her brow furrowed, but the reaction was too smooth, too measured. "What are you talking about?" Trevor pulled the crumpled photo from his jeans. Samantha leaned forward to take it, but he didn't let go. She blinked as she stared at it slowly. "This was from the reception. My cousin's wedding last fall. You look real close in that last frame." She bit her lip. Then something flickered. A twitch at the corner of her eye. A shadow passing quick as lightning. "Regret? Guilt? I don't remember that picture," she said. "I mean, not really." Trevor didn't speak. I drank too much. Everyone did. I was dancing all night." "So you don't remember being with Matt?" Her voice was quieter. "Not like that." Trevor sat across from her, eyes locked. "You telling me you don't remember sleeping with my brother?" Her silence stretched like wire. Then, barely above a whisper, "I don't think I did." He exhaled, a long breath through his nose. "You don't think?" "Trev, come on. Matt was there. We were all there. People were passing drinks like water. I got sick in the Uber. I don't even remember leaving. You were wearing that perfume. From the photo. You haven't worn that in months." She stood. "So now what? You think I cheated on you while pregnant?" "I don't know what to think anymore." For a second, she looked like she might cry. Her face tightened. She turned toward the hallway. "I'm not doing this," she said. "Not tonight." He followed her. "Then when? When do we talk about the fact that our son has the same birthmark as my brother?" She froze in the hallway. Didn't turn around. "You think I haven't noticed?" he pressed. "You think I didn't see you hesitate when I showed you?" Slowly, she turned. And this time, no anger, no denial, just exhaustion. "I don't know what happened that night. And that terrifies me." She went to bed, left Trevor standing in the dark hallway, heart thudding. He didn't sleep that night. Neither did the baby. Trevor spent the next morning pacing the backyard, sipping cold coffee, trying to make the facts fit. Samantha's words echoed in his head. "I don't know what happened that night." But they didn't explain the picture, or the perfume, or Isaiah's damn birthmark. He couldn't prove anything. Not yet, but something had happened. And if Samantha wouldn't remember, maybe someone else would. He pulled out his phone and called Yolanda, Samantha's cousin, the one who got married that night. She answered after a few rings. "Hey Trevor," she said groggy. "Everything okay?" Yeah. Sorry to bother you. Just, quick question about your wedding." A pause. "Okay. That night, was there a photo booth? Like one of those strip printers?" "Yeah, near the bar." "Why? You remember seeing Sam and Matt together at all?" Yolanda laughed lightly. "Well, yeah. Everyone was together. It was a party. I mean alone." Now a pause. "Alone?" Not really." "Why? What's going on?" "Just trying to figure out something," he muttered, already regretting the call. But Yolanda's tone shifted. "Wait, was this about that weird moment?" Trevor stopped. "What moment?" "At the hotel after party. Real late, like 2 a.m. someone said they saw Sam with Matt outside on the balcony. Looked like they were arguing. Or close talking. I don't know, people were drunk." "Who said that? Maybe Devin? Or my brother?" "I don't really remember, Trev." "Why? What's going on?" "I gotta go." "Thanks, yo." He hung up. That night, after Samantha went to bed early, Trevor sat on the edge of their bathtub, staring at his reflection in the foggy mirror, and wondered, how long had this lie been living in his house? He decided to check Matt's room again. Quietly this time, Trevor crept down to the basement. Everything looked neat. Too neat. Bed made. Counter wiped. Trash emptied. But the small file cabinet near the desk was locked. He grabbed a flathead from the toolbox and popped it open. Inside, a worn leather notebook, a couple of old rehab journals, and a flash drive. Back upstairs, he slid it into his laptop. One folder, ATL_motel. His stomach clenched. Inside, a single video file. Timestamped 7 months ago. He clicked play. The footage was grainy, handheld. A motel room, cheap floral comforter, yellow lighting. A camera placed on the dresser. And in the frame, Samantha. Sitting on the edge of the bed. Laughing. Then Matt enters. Shirtless. She reaches for him. Trevor slammed the laptop shut. He sat frozen. Sick. It wasn't the wedding. This was before. Months before. The date didn't match her story. Nothing did. He pressed his fists to his forehead. The walls of the house seemed to close in. Upstairs, Isaiah stirred. Trevor didn't move. In the shadows of that night, something inside him cracked. Trevor watched the video again. And again. Trying to convince himself it wasn't real. That the date in the file was wrong. That the laugh wasn't Samantha's. That the curve of her hip as she pulled Matt toward her wasn't seared into his memory. But the truth had a shape, and it was cruel. This wasn't a drunken mistake at a wedding. This was months earlier. Samantha had been barely 4 months pregnant. There was no ambiguity now. The birthmark wasn't coincidence. The perfume wasn't nostalgia. The baby in the crib upstairs, the one Trevor had fed, held, named, was Matt's son. Rage took over. He stormed up the basement stairs, clutching the flash drive like a blade. Samantha was in the nursery, humming softly while rocking Isaiah. "Where is he?" Trevor's voice shook. She looked up, startled. "What? Where the fuck is Matt?" She stood, setting Isaiah gently back into the crib. "What happened? What's going on?" "You lied to me." He held out the flash drive. This wasn't the wedding. This was before. You were already pregnant." Her face drained of color. "Trev, don't say my name. You knew. You've known all along, haven't you?" She opened her mouth, but no words came. Instead, tears welled. Trevor turned away before he could do something reckless. He stormed down to the basement. The room was empty. No sign of Matt. No phone. No bag. No goodbye. Matt was gone. Trevor called him. Straight to voicemail. He tried again. Nothing. Again. Still nothing. Then at 3:12 a.m., Trevor's phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. "You deserve the truth." Attached, a new video. He hesitated, then pressed play. Same motel. Different night. The camera was handheld, shakier. Samantha was lying on the bed, laughing again. Matt was behind the camera. Her voice slurred. "This is so wrong. Matt, you're already mine, baby." She giggled. "Shuh. If Trevor knew, he'd kill us." The clip ended abruptly. Trevor stared at the screen. The next morning, he didn't speak to Samantha. He didn't eat. He drove to a lab across town and paid out of pocket for a rushed DNA test. Swabbed the inside of Isaiah's cheek. Handed it over like a death sentence. 2 days later, the results came back. 99.99% match. Paternal relative, Matt G. Vaughn. Trevor sat alone in his car for over an hour, staring at the report. By the time he walked into the house, Samantha was waiting. She didn't look scared. She looked broken. Trevor walked past her, into the kitchen, and poured himself a glass of whiskey. It was noon. She whispered, "Say something." He turned slow. "You ended my life the second you let him touch you." She sobbed. "I didn't know. I didn't mean." He raised the glass and drank, then said quietly, "I should kill you for what you've done." For 24 hours, the house was silent. Trevor barely spoke. Samantha tiptoed through the day like a ghost. Isaiah cooed and cried and reached for arms that didn't always reach back. That night, she slept in the guest room. The distance between them had become a chasm, and beneath it, something dark stirred. Trevor stared at the DNA report on the dining room table. The numbers didn't lie. The margin for error didn't exist. Matt was the father, his brother, his own blood. The betrayal carved into him like glass. Samantha's infidelity was one thing, but with Matt, and then to bury it beneath lies, faked amnesia, and years of pretending? The next morning, Samantha was in the kitchen when Trevor came down. She looked as if she hadn't slept. Her eyes were swollen. Her hands trembled as she poured coffee. Trevor didn't say a word. He pulled a drawer open and removed a small paring knife. Clean. Sharp. The sound of it scraping would made her flinch. He didn't lift it, just stared at it. She turned. "Please don't do this." "Do what?" he said flatly. "Say what I'm thinking? Or do what I should have done the minute I found that video." "Trev, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He slammed the knife onto the counter. "Sorry doesn't undo this." The baby monitor crackled from the living room. A soft wail echoed through the device. Isaiah had woken. Neither of them moved. Trevor leaned close, his voice like gravel. You looked me in the eyes every day. Fed me this fantasy. Let me name a child that isn't mine. Samantha sobbed now, full and collapsing. I was scared, Trev. I was alone. And I didn't know how to undo it. He stepped back, his face twisted. You knew the truth. And you made me raise his son. I thought it was yours, at first. I did. I prayed it was. You should have told me the minute you had doubts. She shook her head violently. I was afraid you'd leave me. He let out a bitter laugh. And now look. He left her there, knees buckling under guilt, and went upstairs. In Isaiah's room, the baby reached for him. Trevor stood over the crib, staring. How could someone so small carry so much weight? Later that night, the silence stretched unbearable. Samantha tried to approach him again, whispered, I never meant to hurt you. He whispered back, without looking, You did. Then he went to bed alone. By morning, Samantha was dead. Trevor found her in the bathroom. The tub was full. Water red. Wrists cut. Razor on the edge. Her head tilted back like she'd simply fallen asleep. The scream that came out of him didn't sound human. The police came. The coroner followed. Suicide. That's what they said. But something about the scene, it felt off. Too clean. Too staged. No note. No real explanation. Just blood. And silence. The water had gone cold by the time Trevor found her. It was early, barely 6 a.m., and he'd risen instinctively at the baby's first cry. He noticed the door to the master bathroom was closed, steam seeping from under it. That was the first oddity. The second was the faint scent of lavender. Samantha never used that bath oil anymore. He knocked. Called her name. No answer. He opened the door, and time stopped. Samantha lay motionless in the tub, the water tinged pink. One arm draped over the rim, wrists slick with blood, a safety razor perched beside her fingers like some final, ironic joke. Her eyes were closed. Her lips slightly parted. A line of smeared mascara ran down one cheek, into the water. Trevor dropped to his knees and pulled her up by the shoulders, but her body was limp. Lifeless. The tub sloshed over onto the tile. His breath came in choking gasps. He didn't know how long he screamed before the neighbors heard. Paramedics pronounced her dead at 6:41 a.m. The police arrived shortly after. The detective assigned, Marcus Lee, tall, mid-40s, with a methodical gaze, asked standard questions while crime scene techs swept the room. Mr. Vaughn, were you home all night? Trevor's voice cracked. Yes. I slept in the guest room. Why? We'd been fighting. Detective Lee raised an eyebrow. What about? Trevor hesitated. Family issues. Lee didn't press yet. He jotted notes in a small leather-bound pad. Did she have a history of depression? Trevor stared past him into the hallway, where Isaiah's soft whimper echoed from the nursery. I don't know. The tub water was drained, samples collected. Photos were taken from multiple angles. The razor had fingerprints, just Samantha's. The mirror held no messages, no written goodbyes. The bathroom trash can had tissues soaked in tears, but no paper scraps, no pills, no note. Suicide. That was the conclusion, officially. Domestic stress. Postpartum emotions. A troubled marriage. But something didn't sit right. Detective Lee saw it too. He returned 2 days later with more questions. Not about Trevor, not directly, but about Matt. When was the last time you saw your brother? Trevor, hollow-eyed and sleep-deprived, said, 4 nights ago. Have you tried contacting him? He's not answering. Do you think he might be avoiding you? I don't know. But Trevor did know. And he also knew that if anyone had reason to disappear after Samantha's death, it was Matt. 3 days later, Matt was found in a rundown motel outside of Macon, Georgia. Alive. Alone. Sitting on a sagging bed, watching static on a muted television. When police knocked, he opened the door with red-rimmed eyes and said only one thing. Is she dead? They arrested him on the spot. Charged him with the murder of Samantha Vaughn. Matt sat in the cold interrogation room, wrists cuffed to a steel table, twitching with a nervous energy that screamed of withdrawal and guilt. The room was stark, cinder-block walls, buzzing fluorescent light, a single camera overhead. Detective Marcus Lee entered with a folder tucked under one arm and a cup of black coffee in his hand. You know why you're here, Matthew? Matt nodded slowly, eyes downcast. She's gone. She's dead, Lee said. Found in a bathtub. Razor in the water. Looks like suicide, until it doesn't. You want to help yourself, now's the time. Matt looked up, his eyes wide and unfocused. I didn't kill her. You ran. I was scared. Of what? Matt hesitated, licked his lips. Trevor. Lee leaned forward. Your brother? He threatened me, Matt said, voice cracking. After the baby was born. After he found out. Found out what? Matt was trembling now. That Isaiah's mine. Lee flipped open the folder. Photos of the bathroom scene. A still from the motel video. The DNA report. According to this, Lee said, tapping the paternity results, he had reason to be angry. But it was you who disappeared. And now she's dead. Matt shook his head violently. He told me to run. Said if I didn't, he'd kill me. Said if I didn't take the blame, he'd hurt the baby. Lee paused. So you're saying Trevor killed her? Matt lowered his voice. I'm saying. I came home 2 nights before she died. Just to get some clothes. Trevor was already drunk. He had the video on loop, playing on the TV like a damn music video. He swallowed hard. He was calm. Too calm. Said everything had crystallized. That's the word he used. Crystallized. Said I'd taken something from him, and now I had to give something back. And what did that mean? He said if I didn't confess to her murder, if it ever came to that, he'd make sure Isaiah never made it to preschool. Lee didn't flinch. I didn't kill her, Matt said. But I believed he would. I believed he'd hurt that baby just to erase the bloodline. Lee leaned back in his chair. So you were willing to take the fall? Matt nodded. I was going to do it. For the kid. For her. Until I realized something. What? Matt met his eyes. I don't think Samantha killed herself. And I don't think Trevor killed her after the affair. Lee raised a brow. Then when? Matt whispered. I think she was already dead in his head a long time ago. He was just waiting for a reason. Lee stared at him, searching for a lie, but found only desperation. Outside the room, the DA reviewed the confession and paused the charges. Nothing lined up. No motive for Matt. No prints on the razor. No trace DNA under her fingernails. The case was cracking, and Trevor Vaughn was starting to look less like the grieving husband, and more like a man building a crime scene to cover a deeper truth. 3 weeks into his holding stint at Fulton County Jail, Matt Vaughn began writing. Not to a lawyer, or to the detective, or even to Trevor. He wrote to the press. The letter arrived at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in a battered white envelope, scrawled in pencil and addressed simply to crime editor. Inside were 7 pages of lined paper, rambling, emotional, fragmented, but explosive. It began. I'm not the killer. I'm the problem, yeah, but not the monster. The monster's still out there, feeding his baby formula with one hand and hiding bodies with the other. Detective Marcus Lee read the letter in full after a copy landed on his desk via a reporter contact. He read it twice. By the 3rd time, he had a timeline written out on a legal pad, and none of it made sense. Matt claimed Trevor knew about the motel months before the baby was born. Not just found the video later. According to Matt, the camera was Trevor's. He gave it to me to record my sobriety journey. I used it for other things. I left the flash drive on his desk by accident. He never said anything, just smiled at me different after that. He described coming home weeks before the birth and catching Trevor in Samantha's studio, sitting in the dark, watching the footage in slow motion. He wasn't mad. He was still, like he'd found religion. Matt claimed that after Isaiah was born, Trevor grew obsessive. Measured the baby's features against his own. Googled infant genetics. Watched Matt constantly. Made comments like, blood is loud. It always shows. The most chilling claim came midway through the letter. Samantha didn't die because of what she did. She died because of what he needed her to be guilty. A reason. An excuse. Something to sharpen the knife against. Matt closed the letter by dropping a final, nuclear detail. This isn't the first time someone close to Trevor vanished. He referred to 2016, the year Trevor's college girlfriend, Kenya Blass, disappeared without a trace. Back then, she was listed as a missing person. No foul play, no suspect. They were dating. She had reportedly left for DC for a job. No one had heard from her since. But Matt included something Lee hadn't seen in any report. She told me the night before she left that Trevor had threatened to make her disappear like she never existed. I thought he was just talking crazy. But the next day gone. Detective Lee requested access to the old Blass case files. Cold. Archived. Sparse. Then he submitted a formal motion to reopen it. A quiet storm was building. The press caught wind. Grieving brother or master manipulator? Read one headline. Another, baby betrayal and blood in Atlanta. Trevor hadn't been arrested. Not yet. But eyes were shifting. Inside the walls of his house, Trevor held his son tighter each night and waited for the knock that might never come, or come too late. Ghosts from 2016. The case file for Kenya Blass was thin. Too thin. Detective Marcus Lee read through it slowly, methodically, as if decoding a language no one had thought to question. Kenya, 25 at the time, had been a graduate student at Georgia Tech, studying biomedical engineering. Bright, disciplined, ambitious. She and Trevor had dated for nearly 2 years before she vanished. According to the original report, she'd told a co-worker she was moving to D.C. for a research position. But there were no flight records, no job offer on file, no lease application, no digital trail after August 16, 2016, the day she was last seen. Lee visited Kenya's mother, who still lived in College Park. She hadn't spoken publicly in years, but when she opened the door and saw his badge, her shoulders sagged. "I told them," she said, back then. "That girl didn't just walk away." She offered him a shoebox of Kenya's old belongings, photos, notes, a worn Georgia Tech hoodie. Inside the box, tucked between postcards, Lee found a folded sheet of paper, a journal entry. "Trevor's temper's getting worse. I feel like I'm walking on glass. He watches me sleep. Last night he said if I ever left him, I'd just be a story." I laughed, but I don't think he was joking. Lee now had motive, pattern, history. Meanwhile, the media was circling like vultures. News of Matt's letter had leaked. Experts debated its credibility, but the public was riveted. Was Trevor a broken man betrayed by those he loved, or a patient predator orchestrating grief? Then came the break. Kenya's cell phone pinged once, on a cell tower just outside Macon, 2 days after she was reported missing in 2016. The data had been misfiled and never followed up. Now, in light of Matt's letter and the Samantha Vaughn investigation, a new search was launched. Cadaver dogs, soil analysis, a wooded stretch of highway, and then 6 feet deep in clay-rich dirt, human remains. Dental records confirmed it, Kenya Blass. Her skull had a fracture above the temple. No other trauma, no defensive wounds. Death, likely blunt force. Quiet, sudden. Trevor Vaughn was arrested at 6:22 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday. Isaiah was taken by Child Services. A foster placement was pending Matt's legal status. The trial would be long, complicated, built not on hard proof, but on a mosaic of inconsistencies, patterns, obsessions. Samantha, Kenya, the video, the rage. But the story, once it broke, couldn't be buried again. On the stand, Matt testified in cuffs. Said he had been clean, but not brave. That his silence helped build the myth of his brother's grief. "He's the kind of man who needs the world to owe him something," Matt said. And when it didn't, he started collecting. The courtroom fell silent. In prison, Trevor kept a framed photo of Isaiah beside his bunk. When asked, he still insisted. "I only ever wanted a family. They all betrayed me." But in Atlanta, people started remembering Kenya Blass. And Detective Lee filed a report with 3 names. Kenya Blass, Samantha Vaughn, Isaiah Vaughn. Only one survived.